Your empire burns with your lies.
Marriage is like drywall. Looks good until you tap it and find the rot underneath. I'm standing in my half-renovated kitchen at 6:30 on a Tuesday morning, staring at the hole I punched through the wall last weekend. Not in anger, though God knows I've had plenty of reasons lately, but because I was trying to install new electrical outlets and hit a stud wrong. The jagged edges remind me of everything else in my life. Unfinished, rough around the edges, and probably never going to look the way it was supposed to. My name is Nate Garvey. I'm 41 years old. I work construction, and my wife is sleeping with my daughter's husband. I don't know it yet, but I will in about 12 hours. The coffee maker gurgles to life, and I check my phone. 3 missed calls from my daughter Megan, all after midnight. That's not like her. She's 19, sharp as a tack, and usually respects the fact that her old man needs his beauty sleep. What little good it does me. Nate, you up already? Val's voice drifts down from upstairs, honey sweet and fake as artificial vanilla. That tone used to make my heart skip. Now it makes my teeth itch. Making coffee, I call back, not bothering to hide the exhaustion in my voice. You want some? No time. Big meeting today with the Peterson account. Of course there is. There's always a big meeting, always an important client, always something more pressing than sitting down with her husband of 22 years for 10 minutes of actual conversation. Valerie Garvey, Val to her friends, which apparently doesn't include me anymore, is 39 and runs the day-to-day operations of her father's logistics company. Winston Boyd built that business from nothing, hauling freight up and down the Pacific coast until he could afford to buy his own trucks, then his own warehouse, then his own fleet. Now Boyd Logistics moves everything from timber to tech components, and Val's been groomed to take over since she was old enough to read a manifest. She's good at it too. Better than good. The woman could organize the invasion of Normandy and still have time to coordinate the catering. It's one of the things that attracted me to her back when we were young and stupid and thought love was enough to build a life on. The floorboards creak overhead as she moves around our bedroom. Our bedroom. When's the last time we were actually in there at the same time while conscious? 2 weeks? 3? I pour coffee into my thermos and grab my lunch from the fridge. Leftover pizza and an apple that's seen better days. Gourmet dining courtesy of a man who's forgotten how to cook for himself because he spent 2 decades cooking for a family that's slowly dissolving around him. My phone buzzes. Text from Mike Patterson, my best friend since high school and one of Tacoma's finest. Drinks tonight? Sarah's working late and I need to complain about my life to someone who will pretend to care. I type back, can't, anniversary dinner with the wife. The 3 dots appear immediately, then disappear, then appear again. Finally. Good luck with that, brother. Mike knows. He's a cop. He notices things. Like how Val and I haven't been seen together in public for months. Like how she started dressing differently, wearing perfume to work meetings, coming home with stories that don't quite add up. But Mike's a good friend, which means he lets me pretend everything's fine until I'm ready to admit it's not. Val appears in the kitchen doorway, and I have to admit she looks incredible. Charcoal gray suit that fits her like it was painted on, hair pulled back in that severe bun that somehow makes her look both professional and dangerous. She's always been beautiful, but lately there's something different about the way she carries herself. More confident, more secretive. I might be late tonight, she says, not meeting my eyes as she grabs her travel mug. This Peterson thing could run long. It's our anniversary. She freezes, coffee mug halfway to her lips. For just a second, I see something flicker across her face. Guilt? Panic? Then it's gone, replaced by that practiced smile she uses on difficult clients. Oh God, Nate, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Can we do it tomorrow instead? I promise I'll make it up to you. 22 years. She forgot 22 years. Sure, I say, because what else am I going to say? Tomorrow's fine. She kisses my cheek, a quick, perfunctory peck that feels like a business transaction. And she's gone, leaving nothing behind but the scent of expensive perfume and the sound of her BMW pulling out of the driveway. I stand there for a long moment, staring at the hole in my wall and thinking about holes in general. How they start small, just a tiny crack you barely notice. How they spread when you're not paying attention. How by the time you realize how bad it's gotten, the whole structure is compromised. My phone rings. Megan. Dad? Thank God. I've been trying to reach you all night. I saw the missed calls. What's wrong, kiddo? There's a long pause and I can hear something in the background. Traffic, maybe. Or wind. I need to talk to you, in person. It's about Mom and it's about Eric. Eric Lang, my son-in-law. 24 years old, former Army, now runs some kind of consulting business that nobody can ever quite explain. Married my daughter 8 months ago in a ceremony that cost more than my truck and felt about as genuine as a $3 bill. What about them? Not over the phone, Dad. Can you meet me for lunch? Please? The desperation in her voice makes my chest tight. Megan's tough. She gets that from her mother. But right now she sounds like the scared little girl who used to crawl into bed with Val and me during thunderstorms. Where? Danny's Diner, the place with the good pie. I'll be there at noon. Dad, be careful, okay? I think something really bad is happening. The line goes dead, and I'm left staring at my phone, wondering when my life became the kind of place where my daughter has to warn me to be careful. I grab my keys and head for the door, but something makes me stop. Call it intuition, call it paranoia, call it the survival instinct of a man who spent 41 years learning to read the signs when trouble's coming. I walk back to the kitchen counter where Val left her travel mug. She was in such a hurry she forgot it, something she never does. Val's morning coffee is sacred, part of a routine she's followed religiously for years, unless she was planning to get coffee somewhere else, with someone else. I open the dishwasher and find her regular coffee mug, the one with "World's Best Mom" that Megan gave her for Mother's Day 3 years ago. It's clean, but there's something else. A faint smudge of lipstick on the rim. Dark red, almost burgundy. Val doesn't wear dark lipstick to work. She says it's unprofessional, but she might wear it for someone special. I close the dishwasher and head for work, but my mind is already racing ahead to lunch with Megan, to whatever she's discovered that's got her scared enough to call her father at midnight. The rain starts as I pull into the construction site, fat drops that splatter against my windshield like tears. In the distance, thunder rumbles across the sound, and I can't shake the feeling that the storm that's coming is going to be bigger than anything the Weather Service predicted. Danny's Diner sits on the corner of Pacific and 15th, a greasy spoon that's been serving the same menu since Carter was president. The coffee's strong enough to strip paint, the pie's legendary, and the booths are cracked vinyl that's seen more confessions than a Catholic church. Megan's already there when I arrive, hunched over a cup of coffee in the back corner booth. She looks awful. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing a Seahawks hoodie that's 3 sizes too big. This is not the put-together college student who usually greets me with a smile and a joke about my receding hairline. Hey, kiddo. I slide into the booth across from her. You look like you've been hit by a truck. Feel like it, too. She attempts a smile, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Thanks for coming, Dad. Always. What's going on? The waitress, Betty, been here since the Clinton administration, ambles over with a coffee pot and the kind of seen-it-all expression that comes from 30 years of serving coffee to people having the worst days of their lives. Usual, Nate? Just coffee, thanks. She fills my cup and disappears back to the counter, leaving us alone with whatever bomb Megan's about to drop. Dad, I need you to listen to me, okay? Really listen. And I need you to not interrupt until I'm done, because if I stop talking, I might not be able to start again. My stomach drops. Megan, please. I nod and wrap my hands around my coffee cup, preparing for impact. 3 weeks ago, Eric started acting weird. Weirder than usual, staying out late, taking phone calls in the other room, being secretive about work stuff. I thought maybe he was planning something for our anniversary, Or maybe he was stressed about money. She pauses, takes a shaky breath. Then I found a credit card statement in his jacket pocket. Charges for restaurants I'd never been to, a hotel room downtown, lingerie from some expensive boutique. When I confronted him about it, he said it was for work, that he was entertaining clients. What kind of clients need lingerie? That's what I asked. He got angry, said I was being paranoid and jealous, accused me of not trusting him, made me feel like I was crazy for asking questions. The knot in my stomach is getting tighter. What else? I started paying attention, really paying attention. He'd get text messages and his whole face would light up. Then he'd delete them immediately. He started working out more, buying new clothes, using cologne. All the classic signs, right? She laughs, but there's no humor in it. So I did what any suspicious wife would do. I followed him. Megan, I followed him to lunch at that new place on Ruston Way. The one with the view of the Sound. And he wasn't alone. Here it comes. The moment when everything I thought I knew about my life gets turned upside down. He was with Mom. The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually feel the air leave my lungs. God, Dad, they were all over each other, holding hands, feeding each other food, laughing like teenagers, and the way they were looking at each other. I can't speak, can't think, can't process what she's telling me. I thought maybe it was innocent at first. Maybe they were planning something for your anniversary, or maybe Eric was asking her advice about our marriage, but then I saw them kiss. The coffee cup slips from my hands, clatters against the saucer. Not a family kiss, Dad. Not a friendly peck on the cheek. A real kiss. The kind of kiss that says they've done this before. A lot. How long? My voice sounds like it's coming from someone else. I don't know, but I think it's been going on for months, maybe since before Eric and I got married. The diner spins around me. 22 years of marriage. My daughter's husband, my wife's betrayal. It's too much to process, too big to fit inside my head. There's more, Dad. More. I think they're planning something involving Grandpa's business. I've heard them on the phone talking about accounts, about restructuring, about getting you out of the picture. I don't know what it means, but it doesn't sound good. Winston Boyd, Val's father, the man who's treated me like a son for over 2 decades, who's been talking about making me a partner in the business when he retires. If Val and Eric are planning to cut me out, Dad, say something, please. I look at my daughter, this beautiful, brave young woman who's just had her world destroyed along with mine, and I feel something cold and hard settle in my chest. Not just anger, though there's plenty of that. Something more focused, more purposeful. Where are they now? I don't know. Eric said he had meetings all afternoon and Mom's supposed to be at work, but you don't believe them. Would you? I pull out my phone and call Val's office. Carla, her assistant, answers on the second ring. Boyd Logistics. This is Carla. Hey, Carla, it's Nate. Is Val around? Oh, hi, Nate. No, she left about an hour ago. Said she had an off-site meeting with the Peterson account. Want me to try her cell? No, that's okay. Thanks. I hang up and look at Megan. Peterson account meeting. Dad, there is no Peterson account. I checked. I called every Peterson in this system. There are 6 of them. None of them have meetings scheduled today. The cold thing in my chest spreads outward, filling me with a clarity I haven't felt in months, maybe years. I need to find them. Dad, what are you going to do? Good question. What am I going to do? Confront them? Demand an explanation? Pretend I never found out and spend the rest of my life wondering when they're laughing at me behind my back? No. I'm done being the fool. I'm going to get proof. I stand up, throw a 20 on the table. Dad, wait, maybe we should think about this. Kiddo, I've been thinking about this for months without realizing it. Every late meeting, every business dinner, every time she's been too tired to talk or too busy to spend time with her own family. I've been making excuses for her, giving her the benefit of the doubt, being the understanding husband while she's been... I can't finish the sentence. Can't say the words out loud. What do you need me to do? I look at my daughter, my loyal, brilliant daughter who could have kept this secret to protect herself but chose to tell me the truth instead, and I feel a surge of fierce pride. Go home, act normal. Don't let on that you've told me anything. Can you do that? Yes. And Megan, thank you. I know this wasn't easy. Dad, when you find them, what then? I think about that for a moment. What then indeed? Then we make sure everyone knows exactly who they really are. I leave the diner and sit in my truck for a long moment, hands shaking with rage and adrenaline. 22 years, my daughter's husband, the mother of my child. I pull out my phone and start making calls. Mike first. I'm going to need backup. Then a few other friends, the kind who know how to keep their mouths shut and their eyes open. If Val and Eric want to play games, I'm happy to oblige. But they're about to learn something important about Nate Garvey. I might be an underdog, but I've never lost a fight I was really committed to winning. And I've never been more committed to anything in my life. Mike meets me at Riverside Park, the same place where we used to skip school and smoke cigarettes we stole from his dad's glove compartment. 25 years later, we're both graying around the temples and carrying the kind of weight that comes from too many beers and not enough exercise. But some things never change. When one of us is in trouble, the other shows up, no questions asked. You look like heck, he says, settling onto the bench beside me. Feel worse. I hand him a coffee from the gas station across the street. It tastes like motor oil, but it's hot and caffeinated, which is all that matters right now. So, what's the emergency? Your text sounded like someone died. Someone did. My marriage. I tell him everything. Megan's discovery, the fake Peterson account, the credit card charges, the kiss at the restaurant. Mike listens without interrupting, his cop face getting more pronounced with each detail. Jesus, Nate, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry yet. Be helpful. I need to find them. Find them and do what exactly? It's a fair question and one I've been wrestling with for the past hour. What am I planning to do when I catch them together? Storm in like some wronged husband in a bad movie? Start throwing punches? Call them names? No. That's what they'd expect. That's what they'd want. For me to lose control, make a scene, give them ammunition to use against me later. Poor Nate, they'd say. He just snapped. Couldn't handle the truth. But I've got something they don't expect. Patience. And a plan that's been forming in the back of my mind since I left the diner. I'm going to document everything. Photos, video, witnesses. Then I'm going to make sure everyone who matters knows exactly what kind of people they are. Mike raises an eyebrow. Everyone who matters? Winston, Megan, their friends, their coworkers, their clients. I'm going to destroy their reputations the same way they destroyed my marriage. That's... Mike pauses, considers his words carefully. That's not revenge, Nate. That's justice. Is there a difference? Sometimes. He pulls out his phone, starts scrolling through something. I can't officially help you with this. You understand that, right? I'm a cop. There are rules about what I can and can't do. But I might know a guy who specializes in finding people who don't want to be found. Private investigator, discreet, expensive, but good at what he does. I don't have money for a private investigator. You might not need one. Val's not exactly a criminal mastermind. She's just a cheating wife. And cheating wives have patterns. He's right. In all the years I've known Val, she's been nothing if not predictable. Same coffee shop every morning, same route to work, same restaurants for business lunches. Even her lies follow a pattern, always work-related, always urgent, always just believable enough to avoid close scrutiny. Where would you go if you were her? I think about it. Somewhere private, but not too seedy. Somewhere they could talk without being overheard. Somewhere Eric could park his flashy red Mustang without attracting attention. The Marriott downtown. It's nice enough to feel sophisticated, big enough to be anonymous, and close enough to her office to make a good cover story. Want to take a drive? We pile into Mike's personal car, a beat-up Honda that screams, off-duty cop, and head toward downtown Tacoma. The rain has stopped, but the sky is still gray and threatening, matching my mood perfectly. The Marriott parking garage is a concrete maze, but we find what we're looking for on the third level. Eric's red Mustang, parked next to a familiar white BMW. Bingo, Mike says softly. My hands are shaking as I pull out my phone and start taking pictures. License plates, parking spots, timestamps, evidence. Now what? Now we wait. We find a spot with a clear view of both cars and settle in for what could be a long afternoon. Mike produces a thermos of real coffee and a bag of gas station donuts, the kind of stakeout supplies that come from years of police work. You know, he says around a mouthful of glazed donut, there's still a chance this is innocent. Maybe they really are having a business meeting. In a hotel? Conference room. Happens all the time. I want to believe him. Even now, even with all the evidence stacked against her, part of me wants to believe there's an innocent explanation. That my wife of 22 years isn't the kind of person who would sleep with her own son-in-law. But then I remember the way Megan looked at the diner, broken, betrayed, afraid to trust her own instincts. And I remember the dark lipstick on the coffee mug, the fake Peterson account, the credit card charges for lingerie. They're not having a business meeting, Mike. I know. I just thought you should hear it out loud one more time before we do this. Do what? Blow up your life. He's right, of course. Once I have proof, once I confront them, there's no going back. No pretending everything's fine. No working through our problems in counseling. No quiet divorce where we tell people we just grew apart. This is nuclear. This is mutually assured destruction. My life's already blown up, I say. I just didn't know it yet. We wait for 2 hours. Mike tells stories about his latest cases, a string of break-ins in the North End, a domestic dispute that turned into a 3-hour standoff with a man armed with nothing but a rubber chicken, and I try to pretend I'm listening, but all I can think about is what's happening 3 floors above us. At 4:30, they emerge from the elevator together. Val's hair is mussed, her lipstick gone, her professional composure slightly cracked around the edges. Eric has his hand on the small of her back, guiding her toward the cars with the casual intimacy of a man who's done this before. I start recording video on my phone, my hands surprisingly steady despite the rage building in my chest. They stop between the cars, and Eric pulls her close for a kiss that leaves no doubt about the nature of their relationship. It's passionate, desperate, the kind of kiss that speaks of stolen moments and secret desires. It's also the kiss that ends my marriage. "Got it," I whisper, stopping the recording. They separate, exchange a few words I can't hear, then get into their respective cars. Val checks her makeup in the rearview mirror before pulling out of the parking space, already transforming back into the professional businesswoman who will go home tonight and lie to her husband about where she's been. Eric follows a few minutes later, top down despite the threatening weather, looking like a man without a care in the world. "What now?" Mike asks. I look at the video on my phone, clear, damning, undeniable proof of my wife's infidelity. In the old days, this would be enough. I'd show it to a lawyer, file for divorce, split our assets, and try to move on with what's left of my life. But this isn't the old days, and Eric isn't just some random guy my wife picked up at a bar. He's my daughter's husband. He's part of the family business. He's woven into every aspect of our lives in ways that make a clean break impossible. Now, I say, we get creative. I don't go home that night. Instead, I check into a motel on the outskirts of town. The kind of place that rents rooms by the hour and doesn't ask questions about why a man might need somewhere to think. The room smells like disinfectant and broken dreams, but it's quiet and anonymous, which is what I need right now. I sit on the bed with my laptop and start planning the systematic destruction of two people who thought they could make a fool out of Nate Garvey. First, I make copies of everything. The video, the photos, the credit card statements Megan found. I upload them to a cloud storage account, email them to myself, save them on 3 different flash drives. If Val and Eric want to play dirty, they're going to learn that I'm very good at keeping score. Next, I start researching Eric's consulting business. It takes me most of the night, but what I find is interesting. Lang Consulting LLC was incorporated 8 months ago, right around the time he married Megan. The business address is a P.O. box, the phone number goes to voicemail, and the website is nothing but stock photos and vague promises about strategic solutions for modern challenges. In other words, it's a front, but for what? I dig deeper, cross-referencing business licenses and tax records, following a paper trail that leads to some very interesting places. By morning, I have a pretty good picture of what Eric Lang really does for a living, and it's not consulting. It's theft. Sophisticated, white-collar theft, but theft nonetheless. His clients are small businesses struggling with cash flow problems. He offers to help them restructure their operations, streamline their processes, improve their bottom line. What he actually does is gain access to their financial systems, their customer databases, their trade secrets. Then he sells that information to their competitors. It's brilliant in a sociopathic sort of way. And it's probably how he met Val in the first place. Boyd Logistics would be a prime target for someone like Eric. Access to shipping manifests, customer lists, route information, the kind of data that would be worth millions to the right buyer. But somewhere along the way, he decided it would be easier to marry into the family than steal from them. And Val, flattered by the attention of a younger man, decided she was willing to betray her husband and daughter for a few stolen afternoons in hotel rooms. I close the laptop and check my phone. 17 missed calls from Val, 12 text messages asking where I am and why I didn't come home last night. The messages start concerned and gradually escalate to angry, ending with a threat to call the police if I don't respond. I text back, "Stayed at Mike's, needed space to think. We need to talk." Her response is immediate. About what? I don't answer. Let her worry. Let her wonder how much I know. Instead, I call Megan. "Dad? Thank God. I was starting to worry when you didn't answer your phone." "I'm fine, kiddo. Just needed some time to process everything." "How are you holding up?" "I've been better. Eric came home late last night, all happy and relaxed. Made me sick to my stomach." "I need you to do something for me. Can you get access to his computer?" "Probably. He's not very careful about passwords. Why?" "I think your husband is involved in more than just an affair. I think he's running some kind of scam, and I think your mother is helping him." There's a long pause. "What kind of scam?" I tell her what I've discovered about Lang Consulting, about the pattern of targeting small businesses, about the timing of his incorporation and their marriage. "Oh my God," she whispers. "Dad, if this is true, then we're going to stop them, both of them. But I need proof, and I need your help to get it. What do you want me to do?" "Get into his computer. Look for client files, financial records, anything that shows what he's really been doing. Can you do that without him knowing? He's got a meeting this afternoon, something about a new client. I can do it then. Be careful, Megan. If I'm right about this, Eric's not just a cheater. He's a criminal. And criminals can be dangerous when they're cornered. I'll be careful. What about you? What's your next move? I look out the motel window at the gray Seattle morning, at the traffic heading into the city where my wife is probably sitting in her office right now, planning her next lie. I'm going to have a conversation with your grandfather. Winston Boyd has been like a father to me since the day I married his daughter. He's the one who taught me about business, about integrity, about what it means to build something that lasts. If anyone deserves to know what Val and Eric are planning, it's him. And if anyone has the power to stop them, it's him too. I shower, change into the spare clothes I keep in my truck, and drive to the Boyd Logistics headquarters. It's a sprawling complex near the port, all glass and steel and American flags snapping in the morning breeze. Winston built this place from nothing, and he's rightfully proud of what he's accomplished. He's going to be devastated when he learns what his daughter has become. I find him in his office on the top floor, standing behind his desk in his shirt sleeves, studying shipping manifests with the intensity of a general planning a battle. At 72, Winston Boyd is still sharp as a razor and twice as dangerous to anyone who tries to cross him. Nate! He looks up with a genuine smile, the kind I haven't seen from anyone in my family for months. What brings you by? Not often I see you in a suit and tie. I look down at myself, realize I'm still wearing yesterday's work clothes, jeans, flannel shirt, steel-toed boots. Not exactly boardroom attire, but Winston's never been the kind of man who judges people by their clothes. We need to talk, Winston, about Val, about Eric, about some things I've discovered that you need to know. His smile fades, replaced by the careful expression of a man who's survived 72 years by knowing when trouble was coming. Close the door, son. Have a seat. I do both, then take a deep breath and tell him everything. The affair, the fake business meetings, Eric's consulting scam, my suspicions about their plans for the company. I show him the video from the hotel, the financial records I've uncovered, the evidence that his daughter and son-in-law are planning to betray everything he's built. Winston doesn't say a word during my entire presentation. He just sits there, hands folded, face carved from stone, absorbing the destruction of his family with the same calm focus he brings to everything else. When I'm finished, he's quiet for a long moment. How long have you known? Since yesterday. And Megan? She's the one who figured it out. She's been watching them for weeks. He nods slowly, processing this information. What do you want from me, Nate? It's a fair question, and one I've been wrestling with since last night. What do I want? Justice? Revenge? Just the satisfaction of watching them face consequences for their actions? I want them stopped. Both of them. I want Eric's scam exposed, and I want Val held accountable for her part in it. And I want to make sure they can't hurt anyone else. Anyone else meaning Megan? Anyone else meaning the family, the business, the people who trust us. Winston stands up, walks to the window overlooking the port. Ships are loading and unloading cargo. Trucks are moving freight. Workers are doing the jobs that keep his empire running. It's a view he's earned through decades of hard work and honest dealing. You know what this means, don't you? If we do this, if we expose them, there's no going back. Val's my daughter, but she's also your wife. Eric's a criminal, but he's also Megan's husband. We'll be destroying a family to save a business. The family's already destroyed, Winston. I'm just trying to make sure the business survives. He turns back to me, and for the first time since I've known him, he looks every one of his 72 years. What do you need? Access to Val's files, her computer, her office, her client records. If she's been helping Eric identify targets, there'll be evidence. And if there is, then we call the police. We call the clients who've been victimized. We make sure everyone knows exactly what they've been doing. Winston nods slowly, then walks to his safe and pulls out a set of keys. Val's office. Her computer password is Megan's birthday, followed by the year we incorporated the business. Don't ask me how I know that. I take the keys, feeling their weight in my palm. Winston, I'm sorry. I know this isn't how you wanted to find out. Son, in 72 years, I've learned that the truth has a way of coming out whether we want it to or not. The only choice we have is whether we're going to face it head on or let it destroy us from the inside. He walks me to the door, then stops. Nate, whatever you find in there, whatever you decide to do about it, you have my support. Val made her choice when she decided to betray her family. Now she gets to live with the consequences. I leave Winston's office with a heavy heart and a clear mission. Val and Eric think they're playing chess, moving pieces around the board while keeping their real strategy hidden. They're about to learn that I've been playing chess too, and I'm much better at it than they think. Val's office is a monument to organized efficiency. Everything has its place, from the color-coded files to the precisely arranged desk accessories. It's the workspace of someone who believes control is just a matter of proper planning and attention to detail. Too bad she forgot to plan for the possibility that her husband might not be as stupid as she thought. I sit down at her computer and enter the password Winston gave me. Megan's birthday plus 1987, the year Boyd Logistics was incorporated. The screen unlocks immediately, revealing a desktop that's as organized as everything else in Val's life. I start with her email, searching for any correspondence with Eric or references to his consulting business. What I find makes my stomach turn. They've been planning this for almost a year. The earliest emails date back to last February, just a few months after Eric and Megan started dating. At first, they're innocent enough. Val asking Eric about his business, Eric expressing interest in learning more about logistics. But gradually, the tone changes. By April, they're discussing opportunities for collaboration. By June, Eric is sending her detailed questions about Boyd Logistics' client base, their financial structures, their operational vulnerabilities. By August, a month before he proposed to Megan, they're lovers. I can tell from the shift in their language. The way their professional correspondence becomes personal, intimate, conspiratorial. They stop talking about business opportunities and start talking about our future and when we're running things. The most damning email is dated 2 weeks ago. Val, everything's in place. The Henderson account is ready to move, and I've got 3 more lined up after that. Once we get your father out of the picture and consolidate control, we'll have access to the entire client database. Conservative estimate puts our first-year take at $2.5 million, and that's just the beginning. Can't wait to celebrate properly. Her response? Soon, my love. Dad's been talking about retirement again. I think he's ready to step aside if the right opportunity presents itself. Just need to handle the Nate situation first. He's been asking too many questions lately. The Nate situation. That's what I've become in my own marriage, a situation to be handled. I print out the most incriminating emails, then move on to her files. What I find there is even worse than I imagined. Val has been systematically documenting everything about Boyd Logistics operations. Client contracts, shipping routes, financial records, employee information, trade secrets, everything Eric would need to either steal from the company or take it over entirely. But it's not just about the business. There are files on me, too. She's been building a case for having me declared mentally incompetent. Doctors' reports about stress and depression, carefully edited to make me sound unstable. Financial records showing my spending on tools and materials for home renovation projects, presented as evidence of fiscal irresponsibility. Even a psychological evaluation she somehow convinced me to take last year as part of a wellness initiative at work, now recontextualized to suggest I'm suffering from paranoid delusions. It's brilliant and terrifying. If I hadn't discovered their affair, if I'd continued to trust her, she could have had me committed, or at least declared unfit to make decisions about our shared assets. With me out of the picture and Winston ready to retire, she and Eric would have had a clear path to controlling everything. I'm printing out the files when I hear footsteps in the hallway outside. Heavy, confident steps that don't belong to any of the office staff. Eric. I quickly close the files and shut down the printer, but there's no time to hide the evidence I've already collected. The footsteps stop outside Val's office door, and I hear the sound of a key turning in the lock. He walks in like he owns the place, wearing an expensive suit and the kind of confident smile that comes from believing you're the smartest person in the room. When he sees me sitting at Val's desk, the smile falters for just a moment before snapping back into place. Nate, what a surprise. Val didn't mention you'd be stopping by. Val doesn't know I'm here. Ah. He closes the door behind him, and I notice he turns the lock. Well, this is awkward. Is it? I mean, you're in your wife's office going through her computer without permission. Some people might call that a violation of privacy. I lean back in Val's chair, trying to project a calm I don't feel. Eric's bigger than me, younger, and he's got military training. If this turns physical, I'm at a disadvantage. But I've got something he doesn't. The moral high ground and nothing left to lose. Some people might call sleeping with your father-in-law's wife a violation of marriage vows. But what do I know? His smile disappears entirely now, replaced by something cold and calculating. I don't know what you think you know, but I know you've been screwing my wife for months. I know your consulting business is a front for stealing from small businesses. I know you and Val have been planning to take over Boyd Logistics and cut me out. And I know you've been building a case to have me declared mentally incompetent. I hold up the printed emails and files. I know everything, Eric. The question is, what are you going to do about it? He stares at me for a long moment, and I can see him calculating his options. Deny everything? Try to convince me I'm misunderstanding what I found? Appeal to family loyalty? Instead, he laughs. You know what, Nate? I'm actually impressed. I didn't think you had it in you. Had what in me? The spine to fight back. For months, I've been watching you stumble around like a lost puppy, completely oblivious to what was happening right under your nose. I was starting to think Val was right about you being weak. He walks closer to the desk, his posture relaxed but ready. But this, breaking into your wife's office, gathering evidence, playing detective, this shows some real initiative. Glad I could surprise you. Oh, you did. Unfortunately, it doesn't change anything. Doesn't it? Nate, you're a construction worker. I'm a trained soldier. Val's a successful businesswoman with connections throughout the city. You're outnumbered, outmatched, and out of your league. He reaches into his jacket, and for a moment I think he's going for a tool. Instead, he pulls out his phone. One call to the right people, and you'll be arrested for breaking and entering, theft of confidential business documents, and harassment. Another call, and you'll be committed for psychiatric evaluation based on the very thorough documentation your loving wife has been compiling. And Megan? What happens to her when she finds out her husband's been sleeping with her mother? For the first time, I see something flicker across his face. Not guilt. I don't think Eric's capable of guilt, but calculation. Megan doesn't have to know. This can all stay between us. In exchange for what? You walk away. Quiet divorce, no contest, no drama. You get to keep your dignity and your freedom. Val and I get to build the life we want together. And the business? We'll be in good hands. Better hands than yours, certainly. I look at him, this handsome, confident predator who seduced my wife and planned to destroy my life, and I feel something cold and hard settle in my chest. Counteroffer, I say, standing up slowly. You and Val confess everything to Winston and Megan. You return any money you've stolen from your victims. You dissolve your fake consulting business. And you both disappear from our lives forever. Or what? I hold up the printed documents. Or I make sure everyone knows exactly what you are. Your victims, your potential victims, the police, the IRS, the State Attorney General's office. I'll make you both so radioactive that you'll never work in this city again. Eric considers this for a moment, then shakes his head. You know what your problem is, Nate? You still think this is about right and wrong. It's not. It's about power, and you don't have any. He pulls out his phone and starts dialing. Hello, police? I'd like to report a break-in at Boyd Logistics. I don't wait to hear the rest. I grab the documents and head for the door, but Eric moves to block my path. I don't think so. We stand there for a moment, facing each other across Val's pristine office. He's younger, stronger, and trained to fight. But I'm angrier, more desperate, and I've got 20 years of construction work in my shoulders and arms. Move, I say quietly. Make me. So I do. I've never been in a real fight before. Not since high school, anyway. But some things you never forget. Like how to throw a punch that comes from your legs instead of your arms. Like how to use your opponent's momentum against them. Like how to fight dirty when everything you care about is on the line. Eric's good. I'll give him that. His military training shows in the way he moves, the way he protects himself, the way he tries to control the distance between us. But he makes one crucial mistake. He underestimates how much I want to hurt him. The fight doesn't last long. It ends with Eric on the floor, his nose badly injured, and me standing over him with my knuckles scraped raw and my heart pounding like a jackhammer. Stay down, I tell him, and stay away from my family. I grab the documents and walk out of the office, leaving Eric to explain to the police why he was in his mother-in-law's office without permission, with a broken nose. Let him try to spin that story. I'm halfway to my truck when my phone rings. Val. Nate, where are you? I just got a call from Eric. He says you attacked him? Did he mention why? He says you've been going through my office, making wild accusations. Nate, what's going on? You're scaring me. I get in my truck and start the engine. I'll be home in 20 minutes. We need to talk. About what? About Eric. About your affair. About your plan to steal your father's business and have me committed. There's a long silence on the other end of the line. Nate, 20 minutes, Val. Be there. I hang up and drive home through the gray Seattle afternoon, thinking about marriage and betrayal and the moment when you realize that the person you've loved for 22 years is a stranger. The war is just beginning. The house looks the same as always when I pull into the driveway. Same peeling paint on the shutters, same half-finished deck project, same pile of lumber I've been meaning to move for 3 months. But everything's different now, poisoned by the knowledge of what's been happening behind these familiar walls. Val's BMW is in the garage, and I can see her silhouette through the kitchen window. She's pacing, phone pressed to her ear, probably getting her story straight with Eric or her lawyer friends or whoever else is part of this conspiracy. I sit in my truck for a moment, gathering my strength for what's coming. This is it, the moment when 22 years of marriage officially ends, when the pretense of family unity finally crumbles, when all the lies and betrayals come out into the open. I'm ready. Val meets me at the door, and I'm struck by how different she looks. Gone is the polished professional I saw this morning. Her hair is disheveled, her makeup smeared, her expensive suit wrinkled. She looks like what she is, a woman whose carefully constructed world is falling apart. Nate, thank God you're home. We need to talk about what happened today. Eric says you've been... Stop. The word comes out harder than I intended, and she actually takes a step backward. Just stop talking, Val. I know everything. I walk past her into the living room, the same space where we've had countless conversations over the years. About work, about Megan, about our plans for the future. None of those conversations prepared us for this one. I know about the affair, I continue, setting the printed documents on the coffee table. I know about Eric's consulting scam. I know about your plan to take over your father's business. I know about the psychological evaluation and the financial records and your little scheme to have me declared incompetent. She stares at the papers like they're a snake that might strike. Nate, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You've been playing me for a fool while you and Eric plan to destroy everything your father built. The only thing I don't understand is why. Why? She laughs, but there's no humor in it. You really don't know, do you? Enlighten me. She sits down across from me, and for a moment I see a flash of the woman I married. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. Do you have any idea what it's like being married to someone who's given up on life? What? You, Nate. You gave up years ago. You stopped trying to build anything. Stopped dreaming about the future. Stopped caring about anything except your little construction projects and your beer and your routine. Her voice is getting stronger now, more confident. I'm 39 years old, and I'm married to a man who acts like he's already retired. Do you know when the last time was that you talked about our future? Really talked about what we wanted to accomplish together? So you decided to sleep with our son-in-law? I decided to find someone who still believed in possibilities. Someone who saw potential instead of problems. Someone who wanted to build something instead of just maintaining what already exists. By stealing from small businesses? By creating opportunities. Eric's consulting business is about helping companies maximize their potential. If some of them can't compete in the modern marketplace, that's not our fault. I stare at her, amazed by her ability to rationalize theft and betrayal as entrepreneurial vision. And Megan? What about our daughter? For the first time, Val's confidence wavers. Megan will understand eventually. She's young, she'll recover, and she'll be better off with Eric than she would be trying to build a life with someone who doesn't share her ambitions. You mean she'll be better off once you destroy her marriage and steal her inheritance? I mean she'll be better off in a family that's going somewhere instead of one that's stuck in the past. I look at this woman, my wife, the mother of my child, the person I've shared my life with for over 2 decades, and I don't recognize her at all. You're right about one thing, Val. I did give up. I gave up trying to understand why the woman I loved was becoming someone I didn't recognize. I gave up trying to fix problems I didn't even know existed. I gave up fighting for a marriage that was already over. I stand up, suddenly exhausted by the weight of everything that's happened. But I'm not giving up anymore. What does that mean? It means I've already talked to your father. He knows everything about Eric, about the scam, about your plan to push him out of his own company. He's meeting with the board tomorrow morning to discuss your immediate removal from any position of authority. Her face goes white. You can't do that. I'm his daughter. You're also a criminal, and so is Eric. We haven't broken any laws. Identity theft, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, embezzlement, should I go on? I've got enough evidence to put both of you in prison for years. She stands up and I can see her shifting into damage control mode. Nate, please, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. We can rebuild our marriage. Our marriage ended the first time you kissed him. Everything since then has just been paperwork. My phone buzzes with a text from Megan. Got the files from Eric's computer. You need to see this. Coming over now. Megan's on her way over, I tell Val. She's got evidence from Eric's computer, financial records, client lists, correspondence with his victims, enough to put him away for a very long time. Megan doesn't know about you and Eric. She's the one who figured it out. She's the one who told me. She's been watching you both for weeks, trying to decide whether to protect her mother or her father. Val sits down heavily, the fight going out of her. She chose me, I continue. Not because she loves me more, but because she couldn't stand watching you destroy our family for a few stolen afternoons with a con man. Eric's not a con man. He's a thief and a liar who saw an opportunity to marry into a successful family and steal everything they'd built, and you were so flattered by his attention that you helped him do it. The front door opens, and Megan walks in carrying a laptop bag and looking like she's aged 10 years since yesterday. Dad? Mom? She looks between us, reading the tension in the room. I guess you've talked. We've talked, I confirm. What did you find? Megan sets up her laptop on the coffee table next to the documents I took from Val's office. Everything, she says simply. Client lists, financial records, correspondence with victims, plans for future targets. Eric's been running this scam for almost 2 years, and he's stolen over $800,000 from 17 different companies. She pulls up a spreadsheet on her screen. But that's not the worst part. Dad, he's been planning to target Grandpa's business from the beginning. The marriage, the relationship with Mom, all of it. It was just a way to get access to our client database. Val makes a sound like a wounded animal. That's not true. Eric loves me. He wouldn't. Mom, look at this. Megan turns the laptop toward her mother, showing an email thread between Eric and someone named Marcus. These are from 6 months before he even asked me out. He's discussing the Boyd logistics opportunity and how he's going to cultivate the daughter and mother simultaneously to maximize access and control. She scrolls down to another email, and here's one from last month. The mother is completely under control, willing to do anything I ask. The daughter is more suspicious, but she'll be easy enough to handle once we have what we need. The old man trusts me completely. By the time he realizes what's happening, we'll own everything. Val's face crumples and she starts to cry. Not the manipulative tears of someone trying to gain sympathy, but the broken sobs of a woman who's just realized she's been played by an expert. He said he loved me, she whispers. He said we were going to build something beautiful together. He used you, Mom, the same way he used all his other victims. Megan closes the laptop and looks at both of us. I've already called the police. Detective Harris is on his way over to collect the evidence. Eric's going to be arrested tonight. And me? Val asks quietly. That depends, I say. Are you going to cooperate with the investigation? Are you going to help the police recover the money Eric stole? Are you going to make this right? She nods, still crying. What about us? She asks. What about our marriage? I look at her, really look at her, for what I know will be the last time as her husband. There is no us anymore, Val. There hasn't been for a long time. We just finally stopped pretending. Detective Harris arrives 20 minutes later with 2 other officers and a warrant for Eric's arrest. They take statements from all of us, collect the evidence, and assure us that Eric will be in custody before morning. What about Mrs. Garvey? Harris asks me privately. Are you going to press charges for her involvement? I look through the kitchen window at Val, who's sitting at the table with Megan, both of them crying and talking in low voices. She's going to cooperate fully with your investigation, I tell him. She's going to help you recover the stolen money and testify against Eric. In exchange, I think the victims would be satisfied with restitution rather than jail time. Harris nods. That's generous of you. It's not about generosity. It's about giving my daughter a chance to have at least one parent who isn't in prison. After the police leave, the 3 of us sit in the kitchen where we've shared thousands of meals over the years. But this isn't a family dinner, it's a wake for the life we used to have. What happens now? Megan asks. Now your mother and I get divorced, I say. You decide whether you want to stay married to a man who's going to spend the next decade in prison, and we all figure out how to rebuild our lives. What about the business? Your grandfather wants me to take over operations while he transitions into retirement. If you're interested, there might be a place for you too. Megan looks at her mother, then back at me. I'd like that, Dad. I think I'd like that a lot. Val stands up, looking older than her 39 years. I should pack some things. I'll stay at a hotel until I can find an apartment. Val, I call after her as she reaches the doorway. For what it's worth, I'm sorry it came to this. She turns back, and for a moment I see the woman I fell in love with all those years ago. So am I, Nate. So am I. She goes upstairs to pack, and I'm left alone with my daughter in the kitchen of a house that's no longer a home. Are you okay, Dad? I think about that question. Am I okay? My marriage is over, my family is destroyed, and my wife spent months planning to have me committed so she could steal everything I've worked for. But I'm alive, I'm free. I'm surrounded by people who love me and trust me and believe in me, and for the first time in years, I have a future worth fighting for. Yeah, kiddo, I tell her. I think I'm going to be okay. 6 months later, Eric Lang is sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Val testifies against him in exchange for a suspended sentence and 5 years probation. She moves to Portland and takes a job with a small shipping company, starting over at the bottom of an industry she once helped lead. Megan files for divorce and enrolls in business school. She comes to work at Boyd Logistics part-time, learning the family business from the ground up. Winston retires officially, but still comes in 3 days a week to offer advice and tell stories about the old days. He and I run the company together, and we're more successful than ever. I never remarried. Some wounds heal, but they leave scars that remind you to be more careful next time. Maybe someday I'll meet someone who makes me want to risk my heart again. Maybe not. Either way, I'm okay with it. I finished renovating the house, including fixing that hole in the kitchen wall. It looks perfect now. Smooth, seamless, like the damage never happened. But I know it's there. I know exactly where the weak spot was, where the structure failed, where everything started to fall apart. And I'll never forget to check for rot again.